Welcome to a new episode of Art Matters. I'm your host, Wayne Quackenbush, and today I'll be interviewing two artists from the southern New England area. And let me introduce, first of all, Wendy Anctil.
Hello.
Nice to have you here. I know we met in person recently a couple months ago at the Common Fence Point Community Center, where you were participating in a holiday show with the Portsmouth Arts Guild. And I was, even though we've been friends on Facebook for a while, I was pleased to meet you and was quite taken with your artwork. So here you are today, and you want to talk a little bit about how you got started and what you do, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Well, I'm a fiber artist, and I do felting. So felting with wool and other fibers to make various different pieces of art, as I'll be showing. Yeah, I started with a class that I took at the Heart Spot Center and Gallery, where I learned just how to do a basic needle felting flower in a hoop. After that, I was just so hooked on it, I just had to keep going. I had to keep learning. So I searched out online for different tutorials and other resources, and I taught myself pretty much the rest of it.
Well, your process has been fascinating. You've been filling me in on the different things you can do, but can you describe what felting is, first of all?
Felting is taking wool fibers and causing the fibers to cling to each other. So they're bound together in a way that it produces a piece of fabric, like something like this, where it is solid and it's durable.
So
like
can we get down to the microscopic level and explain how felting works?
Sure. Sure, I got some wool I can show you. This is called wool roving, and this is all carded in one direction. So for something like this, if I was going to make a scarf, I would start taking off wisps of wool and laying them down on my work surface and creating
what are the special properties of wool that lends it to felting?
Oh, well, wool has natural scales on the hairs, and those scales, when they're caught together through using various methods of either water and soap and agitation, or through using a needle to needle felt the fibers together, they form a solid piece of fabric.
It's kind of a tangling process.
It is, yes.
And so something like that wouldn't work on a human-made fiber because they don't have the same kind of textured surface to the hair or the fur. Is it hair? I don't know.
I guess it's a hair.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And so the barbs on the needles go in a certain direction.
Yes.
And then it grabs onto the scales of the hair, and then the hair tangles in on itself, and it becomes really hard to pull apart again.
Exactly. Yes.
So a few minutes ago, you started with a small thing of wool, and then you started, for lack of a better word, there's probably a process, poking on it.
Yeah, needle felting,
Needle felting, and then as I would describe it, a human sewing machine, the thing gradually became a sphere, which you probably couldn't pull apart.
Oh no, this would be
that's
pretty
like
hard to pull apart at this point.
Mass.
Yeah.
So now maybe it's time for you to start to show what you're capable of doing with that.
Sure. Okay. All right.
You can start any direction you want. You can start with the 2D pieces or the 3D pieces.
Okay. Well, we'll start with this one. This piece is wet and needle felted.
Okay, so you would started with different colors?
Yes. Yeah, so I'd lay out my different colored roving into a picture, using the different colors to make the hills and the snow, and then I would wet felt it using the soap and water and agitation.
Agitation
Yes, rubbing,
rubbing
rolling.
it together and then rolling it up into a towel or
Yeah,
something?
yep.
And then unrolling it?
Yeah, and changing the direction, and it takes a few hours to do.
You said sometimes this piece you said
Yeah.
took 1,000 rolls?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, something like this would be 600 to 800 rolls
Okay.
to make that. And I also did some needle felting on the top where you can see the trees in the background.
Okay, yeah, so you took little wisps and
Poke them in with the needle.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
and you get the tones and the hues and everything you needed to make the depth and the illusion of a line of trees.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep. Yep. I even included some hand spun yarn in here to give that some dimension and texture. So.
Now, hand spun yarn, that's wool that you twisted together?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't spin. I'd love to learn how to, but yeah, they would start with something like this, and they would draft it out, and as you spin it, it would twist and twist and twist until you get yarn.
Okay. And you can obviously make that any thickness you want.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you say that the whole process, the needle and the wool interaction is thousands and thousands of years old.
Well, the wet felting part is.
Okay.
Needle felting came around the Industrial Revolution time,
Okay.
where they needed a way to create wool fabric that wasn't so intensive. So they would have big mats full of needles that would just come down onto the wool and press it and needle felt it together.
Oh, wow.
But wet felting,
Well, you can
oh sure,
spread that out so people can see, and you can start talking about the
sure,
dyeing process, which again is incredibly fascinating.
yes. All right, for this piece, I made the wool scarf, and on the back is silk. And what I did to get the leaf prints is called eco printing, and it's a way to print with leaves and other vegetation where you're not using a traditional powdered mordant.
Okay,
So it's a little bit friendlier for the earth.
You
too.
used some kind of mixture, an elixir to draw the
tannins,
color
yep.
out of the leaves, and the color sticks to the
Yep.
wool
Yes.
in those very earthy, literally earth tones.
Yes.
Those are beautiful.
Thanks.
Colors are wonderful.
Yeah. And you can see where I tied the bundle here. That's the outside of the bundle from when I dyed it. So the color of the liquid that I dye in, which is a lot of iron water and vinegar, gets on the outside. And these lines are where I tied it with cotton string.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's almost like a batik process,
Yeah.
except that no wax involved. Or,
Nope. No, it just acts as a resist and covers the parts of the wool that aren't going to be exposed to the liquid. So.
All right, so we can move along and you can talk about how you build each thing, because
Sure.
you told me that mouse, which you'll have to bring over here,
Oh yeah. All right.
is
So.
basically a solid piece of wool, because
Yes.
intuitively you would think, okay, well, you built that thing with cotton batting and then you put something on the outside of it. No, it's all a solid piece of wool. and
Right.
you built the arms and the legs separately, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you used a way to attach the,
Oh, I got it.
you attach the arms and legs with other wool.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
So I would lay over a little bit of the same color wool and then use the needle to poke it in and blend it into the
Yep,
body.
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
Yep. And I put in glass eyes, and these are brush bristles for the whiskers.
And how are those attached again?
I use an awl, which is just a fine poking
Right.
tool to make a hole, and then I just poke it right in. So.
So fragile but durable at the same time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't want my dog or cat to get
No,
a
it's
hold
not
of it.
Oh my God, no, that's not a cat toy.
No.
That would be a terrible thing to happen.
Yeah, it would be.
It would be an ultimate hairball. All right.
Okay, so So this one is a lighthouse sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
The base, I used polyester batting in the bottom. I can pull it out for
Okay,
you.
so there is batting there.
Yes.
Yep.
So I wrapped that up with yarn to make like a disc.
Yep.
And then I needle felted the wool over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And I built up the rocks and the grass for the lighthouse.
Oh, you could
And-
just imagine your own landscape and make anything you want.
You
right?
can, you can. Like I put the little door here on this side, so you'd come up the rocks and go inside the lighthouse. And this has a wire armature inside of it. So there's a piece of wire that I
okay,
wrap
yeah,
the
because
wool
you have to
around.
attach, is that a Swarovski on the top?
Yeah,
Okay, the
Yep.
crystal on the
Yep,
top
and
had to
some
be
other-
attached to something.
right, and some other metal findings. So, yeah, and then it just sits right in here. You can use it as a sculpture, it can be a pin cushion.
Oh, yeah.
you
And
like.
Oh,
You said you also did
Mm-hmm.
something with building like a person's head with a plant on top of it.
Oh yeah, those are what I call my little potlings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're like little plant people. So, anyway,
And then this one, well, maybe you should show your
Oh, yeah.
larger piece first.
yeah. All right, so this one I made this year. And this is all wet felted.
Wet felted again with the layers and then the soap and the water and the rolling and the unrolling.
Right.
I'm learning a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, and I used silk fibers to get that effect with the waterfall.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
that's not wool, that's a different,
Right,
'cause
silk
it definitely has a different texture to it. It almost looks like
yeah,
hair of some sort.
it
Yeah.
does a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Silk won't felt to itself, it needs wool to bind.
Okay.
So if you put it
yeah,
on top of wool and felt it together,
Oh,
it will
yeah.
stay.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
and it doesn't get buried in the wool either.
No, no.
That's cool.
It's right on the surface.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's lovely. You
Thank
could almost
you.
hang that any different way, too.
yeah, I know. Almost
It's
an
abstract and really appealing.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, the earth tones.
Yes.
Let's keep moving because we're
Okay.
getting close.
All right, and this is a wet felted pillow made to look like a rock.
Very much so, yes.
Very much so, yes. So that again was wet felted with water and soap and lots of rolling and agitation.
Now, you built up something you said had to be folded in or,
Right. So this actually started out flat.
Mm-hmm.
It started out 2D.
uh-huh,
So inside between the top and the bottom layer, I have what's called a resist, and it's basically a non-permeable piece
mm-hmm,
of whatever. I use floor underlayment for that because
Okay.
it's thin, it's flexible, but I can still feel it inside as I'm felting, so I know where the edges are. So, and once
Does
this
that
is-
define the shape?
yeah, in a way it does. Like imagine this
Your
just
oval.
flat.
Okay.
So I have the overall shape, and
Yep.
then once I open it up, take the resist out,
Yep.
I start felting it from the inside to
And
get and
trapping it
stretching
into the
it.
thing that it is, which is
Right.
completely seamless and
Yeah.
it looks like you could throw it and hurt somebody.
But it wouldn't hurt; it would bounce.
No, of course. I know, it looks very comfortable too.
It is. It's a
And one
nice
more
pillow.
thing, we got maybe
Sure.
just show that because we only
Okay.
have about 20 seconds left.
All right, this is a wet felted vase cover.
And that
It's
all comes apart
Yeah, it's one piece
and it's
of
all
felt.
one piece, seamless,
Seamless.
completely felted.
Yep.
And as I said when we were talking earlier, some kind of magic.
Yes.
Well, I just wanted to thank you again for taking the time out of your day to visit with us.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I appreciate you coming down.
I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank
Right.
you. Let me introduce our next artist. This is Kat Craig. I've known her for a number of years. She used to show her work at the pop-up events I used to have around the state of Rhode Island, I guess.
Yeah,
Welcome to the show.
thank you for having me.
It's been a long time and it's a
It
pleasure
has.
to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
Yeah. And we were talking about what sparked your initial interest in art.
Definitely crayons. I was obsessed with crayons.
when you were,
anywhere I could use them.
when you were a child?
Yep, when I
Were
was
you-
really
Or
little.
did you stay within the lines in the coloring book?
Probably not. I was more like Harold in the Big Purple Crayon,
Mm-hmm.
like at walls. Mom had to get me canvases.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's good.
And your mother had a set of markers you found a real affinity
Yeah, she
to.
had this yellow envelope of markers that I used to love, and a couple of those really fancy coloring books. And one of them was Egyptian, so I used to love those two things
Yeah,
together.
they didn't
so
have
that
those
really,
when I was a kid.
right?
And then you went to art school. You went to Mass
Yeah,
Arts.
I went to Mass Art, graduated in 2007. Focused on fashion design. I wore one of the kimonos I made today, but it ended up not really being my shtick. I kind of like drawing and illustrating a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do fiber arts for a living now. I make I do upholstery work. I make cushions and pillows.
And you say that's pretty demanding?
Yeah, it's heavy duty work because a lot of the fabrics can be really just difficult to work with. But I like the challenge, I guess.
Well, one of the things we don't really talk about, at least here, is that the dangers of the repetitive movement that
Yeah.
you can have when you're an artist.
Yeah.
I mean, you can strain your fingers from drawing too long. I know
Right.
inking can do that, and you
Yeah,
say
and
that the
with the sewing machine, with the heavy duty ones, like I have a Juki now, even just doing like welt, which is just like a folded piece of fabric over cord, but I have to do like over 100 inches of that, and it's almost like running a gun on a needle, it's very physical.
and it causes
So it kind of
pain in
wears
your-
on me,
your
a little
tendons.
bit. Yep.
Yep. Because I know that you've evolved over time. I know that you, when we first met, you were doing kind of whimsical watercolor
Yeah.
characters, and now you're the new stuff you have is bold and colorful, but it doesn't have the
Yeah, it's not
people in
as
it.
figurative. I know, it's the people disappeared. I don't know what happened.
No, it's all right. It's great.
Yeah, this piece is actually inspired by
If you want to bring that out and put
a
it in
Love and
front of you.
Rockets, a Love and Rockets song called "It Could Be Sunshine."
Haha.
Most winters around January, February, I always find myself at my drawing table because it's way too dark and I miss green things.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up doing a lot of pieces like this that are just really nature focused and colorful and bright because everything's just so dark and gray all the time.
And you're kind of manifesting
Yeah,
spring
I'm
here.
manifesting spring, exactly.
yeah.
Which at the same time I did that piece, this was in January this year. She was at the same time.
Okay.
And she definitely was me manifesting spring. I think I draw a goddess almost every year
Yeah.
around the same time.
Your characters always seem very goddess-like to me.
And this one I was really focused on, I've been using acrylics a lot more because I like how tactile they are.
Yep.
And I like that you can get just little swirls of color in like one drop of paint and then it'll dry that way. It's
Yes.
been really fun for me to work on that and relaxing at the same time. But yeah, still manifesting.
Now, as a little side note, I've been playing with acrylics too, and I
Yeah?
like to put a glaze
Oh,
in
nice.
between each layer. You get a really nice flat but glossy surface,
Okay.
and if you do enough of it, it gives almost a translucent quality, so you have all sorts of
Yeah.
light play between the layers. But your approach is intense. I love this area, and
Yeah.
of course you have a story for this goddess.
I think I do. She just kind of came to me.
Okay. She has an all-seeing eye.
Yeah. Most of my girls are kind of seers in some kind of way.
Uh-huh.
So then same with you. I've been experimenting too with like the matte versus the sheen. These two specifically kind of show that. I really wanted to. I like how matte these acrylics get compared to like a shinier background.
Now, are you using any kind of medium, or are you just using them?
I'm using the PH Dr. Martin's, the inks, the acrylic inks that they're
so
iridescent.
These aren't even out of the tube then.
No, these aren't out of tubes. They're really thick. So I did paint, there was like a, I did an undercoat on both of these. I don't remember what color. I think it was lilac. But then I ended up just covering over it. Like I had to scrape for this teal over the purple, but I really love how it came out around the edges.
Now, is the teal is that Dr. Martin's
Yeah,
as well?
that's the Dr. Martin's color.
And those come in bottles?
They come in little bottles with the little squeezers. So, yeah.
Now, do you use a palette to mix the colors?
I don't. I go right from, well, I don't mix the colors per se. I just kind of do little dips back and forth to get like.
You're getting layers though, and the colors are mixing because you're not doing it
Yeah.
when they're completely dry.
Exactly.
I
I'm
see.
trying to do kind of like a pour, but not like just via.
No, I mean, you know about the whole process of, what do they call that? You used to do it on bookend papers where you would put water.
Yeah,
and
the
then-
water on.
And then it would be like an oil resist on top.
Yep.
And you get the swirling effect.
Yeah, where you could do like a toothpick or something through it. I haven't played with that. I love that
That's
feathering.
what you're working towards though.
Yeah.
And the control, you have much more control though here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like about this.
Yeah.
And this one was one of the worm ones I did. And I really just had my little thing of paints were going to dry out. So I was just trying to use paints and was playing. This was me just playing.
Okay, but you're working
But-
with kind of the same kind of imagery though, so it's a brain thing or an intestine thing. It's very organic.
Yeah,
it-
I'm not sure what it is.
It could be vegetation, but it could be animal. I mean, it's again, it's very contemplative and
I can see that. Yeah, it is.
colorful.
Yeah, it is definitely meditative for me when I do these. I don't really know where
It's
they're going. I
almost
just
like-
kind of start from one point and I'll fan out.
It's almost like making a mandala,
Yeah.
but without the symmetry and the you're not locked in.
Yeah, I'm not locked in. I want it to sort of grow. I think it's more fungal inspired because I think mushrooms and fungi are very fascinating.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's abstract.
I mean,
it's weird.
Mushrooms
but-
can grow in all sorts of different directions and
and
places
they eat
and
everything.
shapes, and they're kind of they
Kinda
can be
scary.
they can be considered one of the hybrids between animal and plant.
I haven't even watched the show.
Oh,
There's the
yeah, I
I haven't
know.
even watched
Yeah,
that
that's-
show
yeah.
yet, but yeah, for more
you-
figurative,
If you like mushrooms, you might enjoy it.
right? But yeah, for more figurative stuff, I've just been playing with this.
And she's a drawing that you attached with Mod Podge, which is
Yeah.
a form of glaze.
Yeah, I need to
And,
glaze the rest of
It's
it.
neat that you can do that, and she must be in some sort of cardstock. Because
Yeah, I
it's
think
like,
like a heavier drawing paper, mixed media
that's
paper.
kind of hard to get that without bubbling.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then did you paint, or is that kind of a splatter effect?
And
or-
just a splatter effect. I did the paint in the underground and the background part, and then just kind of this is all Posca paint pens. If you tap them, they give a pretty good splatter when they're like really drippy.
You tap them onto the piece?
No, I'll take a Posca pen that's like really inky, and then I'll just tap it with a bigger brush and kind of move around.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so-
sort of like drumming a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is your pizza goddess.
And this is my pizza goddess. She loves pizza. The pizza doesn't know how to feel, but it's okay.
Very nice. No, it's pizza with mushrooms.
It is, right? And then there's a little Marvin. I drew this as a gift. This is a cute, and I like Looney Tunes too.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with
No,
Marvin.
you can't. And I wanted to see what I could do. I used to do like little cartoon drawings and stuff when I was younger, and I haven't in a while.
Sure.
So that was a fun one to pick up on. That episode's hilarious.
Yeah, it is. You could show us some of your coloring book too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the cream of the crop over here. So this is all artwork that I made between. Oh my goodness, it's not gonna do it. 2010 and 2015, actually.
Yep.
So most of them are just ink drawings. This is how most of my older artwork would start this way, and then I would color it, but the majority of these are just from my sketchbooks.
Oh yeah, and that's some of your old fashion stuff too.
Yeah, a lot of my old
And your
fashion artworks in here.
multi-eyed goddesses.
Yep. There they are, my unicorns.
Now, were these inked, or are these from the pencils?
These are all inked.
Okay,
Yeah. Inked and then scanned.
very cool.
Some of my weird stuff. This lady is one of my favorite drawings. I've never colored her either. She's always just remained a drawing.
You still have her in your possession?
I do, yes. I have most of my artwork in my possession still.
So if you want to talk about the last two pieces up there quickly?
Yeah.
We're getting short.
So this one is just it's a sunset piece. It's very abstract. I don't remember when I did it.
And then you can bring the other one up front,
Yeah.
and we can get it up here. It's again playing with the acrylics, right?
Yep, playing with the acrylics, playing with how tactile they can be.
And is that Dr. Martin's again?
No, not on this one. It's all just the mural paint that I use.
Okay.
It all comes in like a little tub. I really like it because when you dip from one to the other, it's like it remains pretty smooth. I don't have to remix it or anything.
Okay. We just ran out of time.
Okay.
Thank you for coming, Kat.
Thank you
Thanks
for having
coming,
me. I
and
appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Good to see you as well. All right.
All right, thank you.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of Art Matters. And I'm your host, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.